good afternoon and a happy new year. This will be my first fishing session of 2021. I am quite limited. I'm walking through the snow here, as you can tell there from the backdrop. I am quite limited at the moment because I live in tier 4 and most of the places that I would want to be at, not just today but for the foreseeable future, are in tier 3. However, where there's a will, there's a way. And although we have all our still waters and canals pretty much frozen, I'm heading for the River Stour. Not the Dorset one, but the river that flows through the Black Country, then into Staffordshire, Worcestershire, and eventually it joins the Severn at Stourport. I spent 20 minutes before I came out looking for my tripod so I could film when I'm sitting by the water's edge. I found it, and do you know what? I've left it at home. I think it's an age thing. I'll manage though. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm almost there, the place where I want to fish. I haven't been here for a long time, but I've had some nice roach over the years, relatively speaking, from the river, and I'm looking forward to having a couple of hours this afternoon up to dark. I'm fishing now. I've just cast out. I went for a 1/4 of an ounce lead. I'm fishing with a small bomb, so that's holding the bottom comfortably. So before I put out any other bait, I wanted to do a couple of casts with a lead. Make sure it's a reasonable bottom, there's no snags there, and also that lead weight would hold the bottom as well, so I knew exactly where it was settling. A couple of casts there, everything's okay. Then I've mixed up some brown crumb, maggots, and I've put 3-4 balls in, just small ones, in the line that my lead is on. So I've done everything that I can in terms of preparation, thinking it through. Time for a cup of tea and hopefully a roach to show you before too long. I'm into the last 45 minutes now. We have had some rain during the session, so the umbrella goes up. I don't mind fishing in the rain itself, but it's all about looking after your gear, especially the iPhone that I'm filming on. They don't respond very well at all when the conditions are wet. Last time I was here, especially on the far bank, there were lots of overhanging trees, fish holding areas. Cast up to them, and then as dusk settled in, you were amongst the bigger roach. However, they've pretty much, the powers that be, have stripped the far bank of all those trees. I do wonder sometimes as to the wisdom of the stuff that goes on with our rivers. In fact, I saw something on the internet a couple of weeks ago where the River Lug, I think it was, in Herefordshire, had been decimated by a landowner. Anyway, I will be returning here to the Stour because of the lockdown situation, the tier 4 and the travel, etc. So I'll be giving this a decent go over the next few days at least, as we continue on into January. Let me show you the tackle that I'm fishing with before it gets too dark. That's a John Wilson Masterline 9 feet rod. It's a quiver tip rod, and then I've got a Shimano 3500 reel, and the hook length is created. That's quite a bit of line there, good half a metre or so, and it's 4 pound Maxima Chameleon on the main line, but this hook length that I'm talking about. That's £1.6 fluorocarbon. And then the business end, that's the small barm, small lead, small shot, and a size 18 hook Drennan Super Specialist and a single maggot. I am hopeful that I'll get something on the bank today. If not though, I've enjoyed it. And I saw a kingfisher pass by just now. This morning I published a blog entry on my website. There wasn't a video to go with it, so I'll mention it on here. But I'm going to blog through the year, not necessarily a video, probably won't be a video at all, but blog through the year from home, a garden nature blog. Predominantly birds, especially this time of the year, but once the weather starts to warm up, butterflies and insects and everything else that I can spot from the garden. So I had a nice warm hour this morning, sitting there in the living room, bird watching. Added a few to the list. I don't know if you follow birds or follow nature in general. Many of us as anglers do. Of course, it's all part of the wider package. But if you visit my site, then you'll be able to check the first blog entry out, and there'll be more to come. Garden nature blog, birding from your living room. I'll tell you what people think. Oh, I can't go bird watching, I haven't got time, I'm not very mobile. We don't realise that even without leaving the front door, that we have the wonderful world of nature on our doorstep. I've just had my first bite of 2021 as well. Unfortunately, it didn't end up with a fish on the bank. However, it's quite a positive step, and I do have a certain amount of minutes left as well before it gets too dark to fish. So let's hope that it's an upward curve that will result in a fish on the bank in due course. I'll be back, hopefully, with that fish that I'm referring to. I'm in the car now, ready to go home. That was a tough session, but I persevered and it came good at the end. I hit a shoal of small roach right on late dusk. However, everything's about perspective and context, because talking to another angler, just one on there today, he'd been there for longer than I had, and he hadn't even had a blank, and the conditions are very tough indeed. Yesterday, although it's marginally better today, yesterday it was -5 in the day, so that gives you an idea of just how tough it is at the moment. However, keep going, keep believing, and it will come good in the end. And remember, as long as your bait's in the water, you've got a chance. Happy New Year. And if you are out and about yourself in these early days of January, tight lines.